So this is the 2017 Mazda 3. This is not the hatchback, this is the sedan. This is way less expensive. This sedan actually starts $4,000 less than the hatchback. Why? I don't know. Why does my shirt have buttons and a zipper? No one knows. There's a few changes to this vehicle. There's a new grille and new lights and new 18-inch wheels and a bunch of other new stuff too. This is a new color. This is machine gray, but it might as well be called Evan's pants because I clearly didn't think this through. I blended in with the car. It's a really nice looking vehicle, and considering it starts at $15,000, $15,000. I'm a really big fan of cars that look like they are expensive, and I think that this car looks like it's expensive. With this vehicle, what they've actually done is they've actually lengthened it and widened it to make it look more aggressive. I think it worked. Who's texting? Is it Brandon? I bet it's Brandon. Let's see. What does he say? How's it going, he says. It is going well. Let's just dive into the meat and potatoes. Did you know that for the first year, blind spot monitoring isn't just available on the GT trim, it's also available on the GX trim, which is the second trim. There's 3 trims in total. It's the GS, GX, and GT. A lot of Gs. These are new rims. The old Mazda 3 had 18s as well, because these are 18s, but they look slightly different. These are the newly redesigned 18s. So the other rims, which are the steel wheels with the hubcaps and the 16-inch alloys, those are the exact same. To be honest, they actually do look kind of bland. I mentioned before that this vehicle is very affordable. This is the GT trim. This is the highest level trim, so you get a lot of meat for not a lot of clams. Here's my remote. It's a really funny shaped remote. It is really long and skinny, which is pretty funny. Whoops. So, but there's also a button right here. You have to hit the button to unlock it. It's not one of those systems where you just put your hand on the door handle, but that's okay. If you ever decide to buy a Mazda 3, like a brand new 2017 Mazda 3, they have something called the Aero Kit. It's like a body kit, but it's not, not too showy. Remember when ground effects were really popular? You don't want that anymore. You want the Aero Kit. The Aero Kit just gives you some cool side moldings, and it gives you a nice new front bumper and a cool rear bumper, and yeah, that's what you want. These taillights are new. These are LED taillights. Did you know that if you get the base model, which is the GS, then you don't get LED taillights, which is okay, because the base model is $15,000. That's so inexpensive. For some reason, you have this tiny baby spoiler. It's probably the smallest spoiler ever made. It's really, really small. You can't say this spoiler doesn't do anything. This prevents the front end from lifting up because there's so much torque. There's a button under here to release the trunk. Ow. But there's also a button on here. You have these arms, and they only go down a couple inches, so you're not going to crush all of your French breads and your Spanish watermelons. Then there's also these things. You can fold down the seats. I see. That's a really small opening. The deck lid is only like this big. So that's very interesting. That's a tiny opening. I could hardly even fit in like this. Ow. Oh. Ow, my head. This is probably how a normal person would do it. Ow. Normally when we do this, we're in our studio and there's no one that really walks through. And now I'm in a dealership full of people and they're looking at me like, what the hell is that person's problem? Uh-oh. There. I feel like I shouldn't get, ow. Ugh. If you want a bigger trunk, you can get the hatchback, which has like twice the space. I'd probably do that, because then you'd at least have a window if you're in the trunk. I really like the front of the car. It looks really nice. So this is a brand new grille. This is a redesigned grille, and I've mentioned before that the Mazda CX-9 looks like a Lexus wearing a scuba mask, and I think this is very similar. It's really big. It's a big grille. Look how big this grille is. And then there's a massive logo. There's a massive emblem right here that encases the sensor for the Mazda Radar Cruise, which is going to help you stay safe when you're on the highway because it's going to keep you a certain distance from the vehicle in front of you. You can set it yourself. So with this vehicle, they have the Smart City brake system. So if you're going between 4 and 30 kilometers an hour, then the vehicle's going to brake for you if you're almost going to rear end someone. Now, I don't know what to tell you if you're doing 3 kilometers an hour. Maybe you can't do any damage to a vehicle when you're going 2 kilometers an hour, but I will tell you, you can still make people angry. And then there's a smart brake system, which is going to help you brake when you're going way, way faster. There's also new headlights. These are HIDs with LEDs. They're really cool looking lights. They have like the Mazda eyeballs, you know those ones. Very nice. They're also the adjustable lights, so they're going to move 15 degrees either way. So when you turn and you're going around a corner, then you're going to see something that's in your way, like a who's crossing the street because there is cross traffic alert in the back. So if you're backing up and let's say you're backing out of a parking stall and there's a car that's coming but you don't see it because you're playing your Candy Crush, you can back up and you cannot hit people because it's going to say, hey, there's someone coming that you don't see. So there are 2 potential engines that you can get with this vehicle. You can get the Skyactiv 2-liter and the Skyactiv 2.5-liter. So the 2.5-liter comes standard with the GT, and the GX and the GS get the 2-liter standard. Now, one thing I really like about Mazda is that you can get on most of their models, on most of their trims as well, you can get a manual transmission. So you can get the fully loaded GT with a manual transmission in this vehicle. I think that's amazing. Well, that came off really easily. So this vehicle is also really efficient because you can get up to 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway. For the American people watching, that's really good. This is probably my favorite interior of any under $30,000 vehicle. There's a few different sedans that you can get for 15 grand, but I feel like this one looks nicer than all those other ones. It's a really nice looking car. It looks aggressive. It's the first Mazda 3 with a heated steering wheel. The thing that makes it really interesting though is that it's only heated right here and right here. Nothing here. Apparently the reason Mazda did this is because they want to encourage safety. They want your hands at 9 and 3. There's the adaptive cruise button, which means you can set how far behind the vehicle ahead of you want to be on the highway. And then right here, it's a very interesting gauge cluster because there's only one gauge. There's a tachometer and that's it. It's very, very simple, but that's really cool. I really like simple. So this is a heads-up display. So the Mazda 3 had this last year, but this is a higher resolution screen than it was last year. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not a real heads-up display because it projects onto a weird piece of plastic that folds up, not onto the windshield. It's true that it's weird that it doesn't project onto the windshield, but this is a $30,000 car, and this heads-up display, it is more useful than a car triple the price. It shows all your safety features, but then the car has a street sign detector. If it detects a speed sign or a stop sign or a wrong way sign, it will show that sign in the heads-up display. It displays the speed limit on the heads-up display. And if you're driving through a construction zone and there is a sign that says 30 kilometers an hour, that sign, as soon as you pass it, that speed appears right here. That's amazing. That's so cool. That's so cool. Push button start, standard. That's cool. Push button start is a fancy feature. I like that this is dedicated to just climate control. Like I think it's like the Kia Sportage or something has like 95 buttons right here. There's 12 buttons in this entire front console. That's super handy. That's super easy to use. The thing that I like most about this vehicle, other than of course the street sign detector, is this knob right here that handles everything on this screen. So this is a 7-inch Mazda Connect screen. So then you use this knob to navigate the screen, and you can hit the home button, and your volume's right here. I never use volume on the steering wheel. It's always right here. It's so handy. There's a bunch of buttons here. This is the touchscreen, but I don't like using it because I don't like getting my fingerprints all over it. I know what Pandora is. I've never heard of Stitcher though. It's a music streaming service, but it's what the kids probably listen to. Look at this. I can go through all of my... That's cool. I don't have to pick up my phone anymore. That's amazing. I can go through all my music in like 10 seconds. Ridiculous. Doesn't make me blow up. I have never driven a car where it's so easy to navigate all of your music. You can also go to text messages in your phone. Also an electronic parking brake. I don't like electronic parking brakes, but I'm sure some people do. If you get the base model, then you don't have an electronic parking brake, you just have a regular parking brake. And then you have USB and auxiliary, and USB and auxiliary are both standard. Can't believe how nice this vehicle is. It's so nice. I really like the seats too, like the shape of the seats, because I'm not a very big person. And when I'm sitting in a seat, I feel like I'm wearing my dad's suit. You know how you see some people who have suits that are way too big for them? This, it actually fits me really nicely. It grabs me tight. Usually it's like the higher end luxury cars that have these white leather seats. If you've ever sat in a luxury car that has white seats, a lot of times you'll see like a ring of blue because people wear blue jeans. That's why I could never own a white seated vehicle. Favorite car I think that I've ever reviewed. So, not a very big vehicle, and the back seat isn't especially huge, but it's pretty decent. It actually is pretty comfortable. It's just that the seats are reclined a lot. It's kind of weird. I think that's decent if I do this. I look cooler probably too. I am 5'10" and a half. And I have that much room. That's pretty decent. I would say that it's probably time to drive this car. They go down all the way.
Second chains kill like a curious cat. Are you my property? Am I yours?
There are some car reviewers who will say, oh yeah, you can really feel the responsiveness of the extra displacement when you get the larger engine. That's not what I do. I will tell you if it's fun to drive and if it's not fun to drive. And you know what? This is fun to drive. It's in sport mode now. Foot on gas. Ooh. It actually throws you in the back of the seat. It's really fast. Well, that car just did something illegal. What the hell are you doing? Why are you driving on the wrong side of the road, you idiot? What's it called? G vectoring control. So supposedly, it actually makes a huge difference, and there's like no body roll when you turn. I haven't tried it yet because I want to try it in front of the camera. I want to see if it's actually true what they say. I need to go somewhere where someone's not going to report me. Here's a shady motel parking lot. Man, that's nuts. There's very little body roll. It's crazy. If you were in another vehicle, I would be over here. I don't even understand how that works. Like, I'm turning really sharp, and I'm basically staying in place. That shouldn't happen. It has a 9-speaker Bose audio sound system. I bet it sounds really nice. Make some noise. Okay. I have the windows rolled up and people are looking at me because they can hear the music. My ears are ringing. I never swear, hardly ever swear, but gosh darn it, this is such a nice car. I can't believe it. If you like what you saw in this video, you should let us know by subscribing and commenting down below. We need subscribers.